last week I went to a conference in New York that a lot of people have been tweeting about, but I've gone there for 15 years or something, and Druckenmiller spoke. And when I say spoke, I don't mean 1,000 people. I mean, there's 150 people here, and I'm sitting like 6 feet away from Druckenmiller. Now, this guy's worth billions of dollars. He broke the pound with Soros, all this different stuff. He's a gentleman. He's like a nice person, whatever. But it's something hit me. He said that he loves to win more than anything else in the world. And he knocked on the wooden arm of the chair, and he said, I've never had a down year. And the only thing that I love more than winning is not losing. And then he goes on to talk about his trades and all this stuff. And the question that I wanted to ask him, but I didn't want to be rude because this guy's really a gentleman, is what is the point? What is actually the point? I mean, you are worth billions of dollars, okay? You've never seen the inside of an airline terminal since like 1990. You have a family, you have all this stuff, and you're in your 70s, and his hand kind of shakes a little bit and stuff, and you're like, what are you actually doing? And I'm not being critical. I'm not being critical because I'm not a person that's like against wealth. Like I think it's a part of the makeup of our mind that we want to say, I know I'm going to have lunch today, but I need to know I'm going to eat for the next year to be satisfied. But people say I need to eat for thousands of years to be satisfied. And then they say, well, my neighbor has another billion than I have and all this stuff. And it's not really about the billion. It's because that's not even a bad thing. It's just that what are you actually doing? And see, what I know about you is what you're doing is you're having fun. Because when you got knocked off, your horse back in the day, it changed your perspective. And you do not have to fall flat on your face to change your perspective. What you have to do is you have to ask yourself, what is the point? What do I actually want? And in philosophy, the teacher helps you to play things out to an extreme. Okay? So people try to live longer now, right? They have all these machines. I have friends with like hyperbaric chambers in their house. It's totally crazy. I ask them, what's the point? Why do you want to live forever? Well, I want to live longer than everyone else. Is it better to live longer than everyone else? I mean, maybe it is, right? I mean, I don't know, but what are you going to do? It's not like you want to die tomorrow. It's like the answer to that is just live your life. Just go, just do whatever it is you want to do without trying to get this thing that you've never thought about before. Like in this book, one of the business partners I had, our boats went off course. And it was like he was on this quest to get something that he never thought about. And he's willing to sacrifice like friends and family and sacrifice this moment to get this thing that you've never thought about. So back to your original question. A lot of those people that taught us, it was a different era, right? I mean, like, it was this like, get this pile and then like live off the pile, but make sure the pile doesn't shrink. You got to make sure it doesn't shrink, because if it shrinks, people think less of you. But the whole time, the big question in my house, like I'm trying to kind of like, I don't want to say teach this to my kids because they're going to have their own journey. Their journey is not the same as my journey. But the big question for my kids is like, are you having fun? Like, I mean, are you doing something you like to do? I mean, like we're storm refugees right now. That's why I'm in Vancouver. But I told my kids, like, yeah, I mean, we're just going to go have a good time. Like, I mean, I have work to do there. Today we flew around the harbor, in one of these float planes. My son got to fly the plane, whatever. It was very funny. But I mean, that's what you do, man. This is, you get one trip around the rock, and it's not about, are you going to get me? Some of the people from those bull markets where you and I were much younger with more hair, some of those people are dead. I mean, honestly, I know people that made, $50 million and then died of like a pill addiction.
Oof. Quick break here. This episode is brought to you by West Red Lake Gold Mines. Now, if you know nothing about West Red Lake Gold Mines, let me tell you one thing. This company was founded on the back of a transaction where they purchased the Madsen mine in northwestern Ontario in an area called the Red Lake Gold District, which to date has produced around 30 million ounces of gold from some of the richest gold deposits in the world. Now, what they paid for this mine versus what they got has led legendary mining entrepreneur Frank Giustra to call this transaction the deal of the decade. And Bob Moriarty, founder of 321 Gold, was recently on my show calling West Red Lake Gold Mines one of the two most undervalued gold companies in Canada. If you're curious why these individuals are so excited about West Red Lake Gold Mines, hit the link below to learn more. Now back to the episode. Yeah.
What's the point? I mean, like, honestly, like what is going on here, man? I mean, you know, so I think if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, is this two rich guys? It's not really. What you should take away is it's never a bad time to ask yourself, what is it I actually want? Why do I actually want this perceived success thing or whatever? It's not bad to want it, but it's bad to not ask yourself why you want it, because what you find is you can go after it and you can live now. Like that's what you're doing right now. You're definitely about the next score, right? But you're also about this actual moment is great. This is a great moment. In 2010, when I had kind of like the first big exposure to a bull market, like, you know, I was living very modestly. I tell this in the book. I mean, I was like, tell about the kind of car I had, all this stuff. It's not like I was a peasant, but I mean, I was just like extremely concerned about slipping back into a non-freedom situation where I would have to like go back into a corporate cage or whatever. And the reality is that like, you know, I didn't have to worry about, you know, like dental work and, you know, like back pain. It's like, you know, I was taking like economy flights overnight, you know, in the way back of the plane. It was like, whatever, you know, I mean, I had like lots of that gel between your discs in your back or whatever. And, you know, it's like your perspective changes. And so what I'm saying is that like, you can go after this, you can be hard charging rocket ship and realize that everything is great. Everything is great. And the more you do that, it's a paradox. The more successful you are. That's what happens. When you really let go, success just falls on your head because you're no longer fighting with the world. So, I mean, anyway, this is a long answer, but like watching Druckenmiller last week, I mean, I was definitely like, what is the point, man? What are you doing? There's an article about the founder of Workday. People can look this up, but the guy's like 84 years old. He started like 3 companies worth $15 billion. When you get done reading the article on Bloomberg, you're like, this guy is heavily disturbed. Like, he's got 10 kids, like 2 foundations, like all these different things going on. And he just like has got to start. He's compulsive. He's got to start another company. And I'm like, why do we celebrate these people? Like, why? I mean, I can tell you right now that like, I play tennis like a fiend. Okay. I love to play tennis. I picked it up later in life. I wish I played when I was younger, but the reform school didn't have any racket sports. All we did was chop wood and stuff. Okay. But I love playing tennis. And like, for me, like peak living is like wake up in the morning. I take the rackets everywhere, wake up in the morning, play for an hour, play like live ball or some 6-person clinic or some fun thing. It's like being at camp, you know, then do the work that I do. Right. I mean, like I'm reading this like fabulous book, you know, Infinite Jest, which I'm obsessed with. Do stuff with my kids, like, you know, eat some fun stuff. Like I love chocolate croissants, which surprises people because I don't look like I would love them. You know, anyway, so this is like what I do every single day. Every single day. It's like, it's peak living, man. It's peak. Like, this is the life, man. I'm not going to go into some like place I don't want to go to make money I'm afraid to spend. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, that's what people are doing. It's like, I'm not doing that.